welcome to Gorge for another casted game. On the south side this time we have Studio in the orange as the Chinese, and on the north side we have Boy 3920 as Sushi's Legacy in pink. Boy sent me this one over and told me I should definitely check it out, and if you want to be as awesome as Boy, then make sure you send me the details of your game and your username in the comments, and I can add it to my list of casted videos and you could be the next casted Chad. So these guys are Conquerors, so I'm expecting some really high level gameplay today and something really exciting. And I don't normally mention it, but if you're really enjoying the content, please consider subscribing. It really does help the channel. I know everyone says it, but yeah, I love making these videos, and getting all of your amazing comments and the likes and people subscribing is absolutely amazing, and just keeps me super pumped and super motivated for making them. So yeah, we're all doing this together, and let's keep it growing, guys. Now, let's take a little look at the scouting path then. We can see that Studio's been quite defensive on this one, just missing a sheep behind the market. There was one just there. If we pop it up, there we go. Poor little guy, I think you're going to stay there for most of the match now. So I think in this case, Studio's actually been quite defensive with this one, because you do get the extra sheep when you start. So now, since this patch, you've been able to be a little bit more aggressive, and also as the Chinese, you do put your sheep next to a mill on berries, so you can also shift over to berries if you have like a couple of seconds where you don't have sheep. So actually on Gorge, I normally expect players to go right across and then down. So if we check out Boy's side, he's also gone quite defensively as well, so maybe this is me doing the wrong scouting path, but I tend to find that most people I see, especially the tippity top, will go straight across all the way and cover half of the map, and then they will come back and try and get the other side. So both of these guys getting kind of 2/3, and actually it works out they're both going to get half, because Boy's now going to get his safe side, whereas if we look at Studio, he's also going to then get his safe side. So luckily it works out that they've both done it. If, for example, Boy had already got this corner, then Studio would be in a real pinch with his sheep. Now, let's talk about this spawn and this matchup, because Gorge is always a really weird one. So it looks like Studio's really not got too lucky with this one. Front gold, the little pocket wood line that you always get is behind that to the side, which doesn't really defend anything. We've got side berries over here, which is okay, and then it looks like the classic wood line here is actually cut short. It looks a lot smaller than you'd usually expect. So this one, he's been you know, sort of cut cheap on the wood, and he's also really bad for the gold at the front. If we take a look on Boy's side, he's got back berries defended by these double wood, so his food's nice and safe over here, really hard to raid. He's got side gold, which has also got the pocket wood next to it, so a really nice defensive spot. And we've got meditation and gardens going up here, getting wood, getting berries, getting gold. That's going to give him a really nice eco boost. We've got a very defensive Barbican of the Sun going up on the food there to really try and secure that. It also secures up this stone if he does decide to go for 2TC. So in this matchup, it's going to be really interesting to see how both of these players go for it, because Zushi tends to be very aggressive if they go for the Chuganu Rush, or they can go for that super fast castle and get it in like 5 minutes. So Studio's going to have to be really careful to see what's going on. With him aging up with only one, it looks like he's going for the classic Chinese Song Dynasty, which gives him that increased villager production rate, whereas Zushi don't tend to do the same, because their Song Dynasty just gives them discount on their eco buildings, which is great if you want to do your farm transition and stuff like that, but really at this stage you don't need it. So if we take a little look over at Boy's side, we've only got a little bit of wood, nobody on it, and a huge amount on food. So potentially we're going to be seeing a castle age from him. So nothing moving over and more going on gold. So we're going to be seeing that super fast Zushi castle age, it looks like. Whereas on Studio side, the Barbican is almost about to complete, and he's just about to get enough gold there for his Song Dynasty. So the Imperial Academy, I imagine, is going to be dropped probably somewhere around here to get all of his buildings and all of that stuff. So we will have to wait and see where he's going to drop that, or if he's going to go straight up to castle himself. There we go. So front Imperial Academy, I guess that's a position. I personally probably would have gone at the back, because if you're getting pushed by Zushi, whether it's in Castle Age or in Feudal, you want to put all of your production buildings around it. So having them here makes them a really easy target to be burned down, and you can't really remass as easily. So I think having it at the back with the wood probably would have been a better call. But I'm definitely not happy with this wood line. I'm very sad for Studio, because look here, his wood line's been on a diet, whereas Boy's is nice and juicy and nice and thick at the back. But you know, what can you do? The AoE spawns are always interesting. So we can see the Castle Age almost about to come through, so we're going to be seeing the bald guys coming out and grabbing those relics pretty sharpish. And for Zushi, this is really, really good, because those monks, when they come out, they can also fight. So unlike prelates and scholars and monks and stuff like that, they don't need to be defended, because they can actually defend themselves, and they are pretty tanky. So even if you get some units, you've got to really try and stop them. So Shaolin Monastery coming up, so as expected, they're going to go up pretty quickly, and Zushi and Chinese both get that build speed increase. If we take a little look over at Studio's side while that age up's coming through, we've got Wheelbarrow and a lot of food being used, so doesn't look like he's seen the castle yet, so he's going for the classic. He's not on stone yet, so just a 1 TC song, but whether he's going to try and make some defensive units or try and go for a push. But when he sees this castle age timing come through, it's a little bit slower than I have seen with Zushi, but it's definitely going to be pretty scary. So this makes the HRE fast castle really look very, very slow. So if we take a little look over here, when we see this guy, there we go, and it comes up. Perfect. So now we've got the Shaolin monk coming in, and these guys have that really cool ability where they can basically defend against range. They do it, and they basically become like mega tanks for so many seconds, and they also heal themselves. They don't heal other units, but it does mean that if they get hit, they can just run away, and then they heal themselves up, a bit like Royal Knights. So you can see this guy, look how awesome they are. I just love the modelling on this game. It's absolutely incredible. So Boy going out for the relics. If we take a little look at the relic spawn, in this case it actually slightly favours Studio, I would say. So this one just past the centre over here, so that's slightly on Studio's side. There's one that's here is sort of super defended by by the Wolf, the MVP, and by the Woodlines, and it looks like Studio's going to try and deny these, but the Shaolin monks are already out, and the scouts coming as well, so Boy's going to be pumping these to make sure that he can get all of those relics, because that income is absolutely insane. If he can get all 5 of those, that's a huge boost. So we can see the monk coming down there, and there he's walling them up. But interesting, so he's not going for relics, he's going for sacred sites. Okay, not what I was expecting, but sure, okay. So this is going to allow Studio the time he needs to wall these up. So now he's got that, he is going to get the food eco, and he may actually still manage to get that relic because his villager is only just coming across. So unless he can do some tricks and short walls to make sure all of these walls get up, that Shaolin monk is going to get that relic. So let's just hope that he can't get a Wololo off and get that villager as well, because that would be a huge pickup for Boy. So there we go, just running straight out there, that is going down. Astronomical clock tower going down for Studio now, which is the right choice for for the Chinese, so that's going to allow him to get those mega nest of bees out also. But Lancers in queue for Boy, so he's going to be able to start raiding very, very quickly. Another relic being picked up, that's 2 in the bag on the back of these Shaolin monks, and I never realised, while I'm admiring the animations, I never realised they just stick it on their back and have it like a little relic backpack. That's just just awesome. So if we take a little look, then we've got 3 relics or 3 sacred sites all ticking over. So now the timer is going down, which is going to force Studio, he can't turtle, he's going to have to go and attack. There's another Shaolin monk going, but he's going to notice this one is fully walled in. So is it shift queued? Is the monk going to just run away? Yep. So this is the problem with shift queuing them if you don't have vision. If they can't get to it, they will literally just turn around and run home. So that's really not ideal. Scout trying to decap the central sacred site, so as soon as you've got a unit on there, it does actually pause the timer, and as soon as that unit's gone, it will continue to go down. And as long as the sacred site still has a little bit of that ring, it will then continue to go back up. So we can see that Studio is really trying his best to decap them. He did actually get the top one with a villager as well. Oof. And the Lancer just missing that, while Studio's also going on the south one with his Scout. So his Scout is down, which means his Vison's reduced, and these Lancers are going to be going down to torch down these walls so he can get that relic. 4 in the bag already for Boy, and 2 sacred sites ticking. So if we take a little look at the income, his gold income is absolutely massive. So we can see that we've got the Imperial examinations coming in for Studio, which means that his Imperial officials can pick up even more gold from those taxes, which he's going to be needing because he's not going to have that relic gold coming in. We can see lots of spears defensively being built, no other units as of yet, and the Lancers doing huge damage there. One spear is definitely not going to take out a Lancer, and he can run away. No religious units that are going to be able to heal this guy up, though, because obviously the monks can only heal themselves. But these guys are also going to form part of the military as well, which is quite scary. This wall just about to pop down, and we can see the monk did get pulled back, and this is the ability I was talking about earlier. Body of Iron. The Shaolin monk hardens his body and reduces incoming range by 50% for 15 seconds. So this really does help. So now the spear's going to catch him, but he will also heal. But look at his health. He's so tanky, and he's going to do that Wallalo, but are they going to get him? No, I don't think so. And is he going to get it off? Oh my god, what an absolute save. So now there's all of those spears have just moved over to Boy's side, and the military then has just jumped massively in his favour. So these guys, you need to remember, they are just so strong. 170 health, they can take so much damage, and they've got 2 melee defense. So the melee units are just not going to be able to do it. And then all they have to do is activate that ranged attack, and then they can also do that as well. So yeah, they're really, really scary. We've got Palace Guards now coming in for Studio. Those guys are going to be really, really fast to raid. Spears coming out to try and get these guys over here, and Boy's just running around while he's coming in with another raid on the front side. These villagers are going to get hit hard. Look at that damage. So those villagers going down, and he's lost that military, and now there's a clash on the bottom side. Spears chasing while these knights are diving under the TC, getting that Imperial official, which is a huge pickup. That damage is huge to the economy. Less taxes, very expensive to remake, and more villagers being taken down now on the farm transition. No granaries for the Chinese just yet, so he hasn't got the full granary transition. Fighting under Barbican, but these guys are still surviving pretty well. 1 down, so only 1 down, but a huge amount of damage done by Boy there, and these other spears are just being dragged around the map by the rest of his units. So if we take a look now, the Chuganu are starting to come out at the front and mass up on this central sacred site. So now they're going to be able to take this fight, and if we zoom in, there's a couple of spears, but the Chuganu are going to melt through them very, very effectively. So these Lancers are going to fight another day. And the monk there, just to do his little bit of kung fu and keep himself healed there. But look at that damage on the spear there. It's just, these guys are amazing. I haven't seen monk only build in ages, but I would definitely love to see that from someone. So if you want to do a monk only challenge and build a ton of them and go and smash someone, then let me know, because I'd love to see it. So defended on the sacred site over here, most of the units going down, but that monk keeping that sacred site ticking. So now we've got 7 minutes left on the timer. Boy's got 20 units on the field, and even with that Song Dynasty, the villager numbers are very, very similar because of the damage that he's doing. So now Studio's going to have to really try and figure out a defense for this. He's going for the granary because he's run out of food. He can't go out on those external resources because Boy is keeping an eye. A Lancer over here guarding the berries and the deer, so both of these external food sources in one spot means one unit there can basically prevent them completely. We can see lots of eco techs coming in for Boy as well, so his eco is going to be going crazy, and the blacksmith in, which with the arrow damage with the Chuganu, that's definitely the right call. So now it's starting to get to the point where the Chuganu are getting to that critical mass where they can basically melt everything, and these spears are not going to be able to last very long. Focusing on the Palace Guard there, which I think is a good call, and So there we go, the Lancer's aiming on the villagers, so now he's got the choice. Does he sacrifice the villagers or sacrifice the spears? He can't keep both. So if we check out this raid in the base, he's just diving the TC, the Barbican and the TC firing like crazy, but the Chuganu absolutely melting these, and the Lancer's now able to just go and hit those farms with the villagers running to safety. So all of those units down, the Lancers diving in, they don't even care about the TC. Who cares about a Barbican? I want to get these villagers, and look at them just absolutely destroying these rice fields around the granary. And I do actually really love how the farms spawn on the hills as well on these maps. It's you know, the generation is really amazing. So we can see there's some defensive walls trying to be built by Studio but not going up, and look at this, the villagers just carrying on. They just really want that food and they don't worry about the knights. They're just too dedicated to their work. So that's a huge pick off, and more units coming in the front of the base doing that damage and just getting all those villagers now pulling up to the back of the wood line to get the others where they're obviously going to be. Imperial official targeted down. There we go, no more supervision on that lumber camp, all the military going. Suganu there firing on farms and barracks for some reason. Then a couple of them getting some villagers, and the Lancers going in to really put a nail in the coffin, and as expected, Studio calls it at that stage. So huge raids there from Boy, and an absolute ton of damage done on those farms. And here we are just before GG was called to take a final look at the state of play and what both of these guys did to make this game so exciting. So let's pull out now, bring up the interface and give it a cheeky pause, and then we can take a look at the match. So this one was short and sweet, just like my wife, and this is why I love this game, because it doesn't have to be 90 minutes. You can play super long games if you really want to, but you can end the game super quickly if you can do that damage. And looking at this number isn't even the total, because there's a huge amount of these guys. All of these guys are going to go down, and the ones over here getting hit as well. But let's take a little look over at Boy's base. So I think he played really well into Zushi's strength. He got the monasteries there, so he's getting huge gold eco from all of those relics, and they can also go in the Shaolin Monastery as well. So this is just massive. That gold eco is huge. If we look at that 800 there versus the 375. So, and you're also getting the taxes, because both of these guys get the Imperial officials, so that just means that he's able to print out those units like crazy. Also, because he was the aggressor, because he went into Lancers, because he got that faster castle, he's able to be out on these external resources like the berries and still not have to do his farm transition, which is saving him a huge amount of resources. Whereas if we take a look at Studio's side, because he's being pushed, he's trying to get these farms up, and on Gorge it's really difficult, because normally you want them at the back, but there isn't really a back, because it's either the side or the side, and you can't really set up your granaries anywhere else. Maybe here under the TC, but with the Barbican as the defense, that's really the logical place to go. Also, I think the meditation garden placement's really nice. So it doesn't look like a lot, but if you think about all of these resources, we've got 36, 51, 76, there we go. So 76 a minute, that's basically, what, 3 villagers worth of resources? So if you think that's completely free, it lasts the whole game, and you've got gold endlessly, that's really useful, and it's allowed Boy to really get these units out as well. So I think going for that super fast castle age and really going for those Shaolin monks worked really well, because China can't keep up with that castle age, and so he was able to secure up all of those relics. The wallalol that happened over here and got a couple of spears with one of these guys was absolutely insane, and just reminded me how amazing these units actually are, and I wish I had them when I was playing Byzantines, to be perfectly honest. If we take a little look, I think Studio did a good job trying to wall up these relics. I think if he had seen the castle age coming a little bit sooner, and noticed that there were no units coming from Zushi, and he wasn't on the wood line at all, he could have walled up a couple of these relics a little earlier, maybe going for stopping the central one, and maybe these two just a little bit earlier, because this one on the top side, the monk was able to just basically walk straight in and walk out again. Also, Boy did a great job, and this is something I always try and remember in my games, is when you've got these religious units, once they've dropped the relics off, go and get the sacred sites, because it either forces a fight on them, you also get the income as well, they have to send units to decap them even if that's not really your target, and as you can see here, in 6 minutes, Boy could have just sat back and defended these, and actually then he still would have won the game. So Really important there. I think the spawn didn't really help Studio in this case with his front gold, but Boy was able to do a huge amount of damage with some lancers, and he also defended these external food sources really well. One single unit there just waiting. If he'd have gone out there, he would have lost all of his villagers, which is massive. So sending out units like this to guard those important resources. You can also see up here, we didn't see in the match, but there was another lancer on this gold as well. So basically Studio had nowhere to go. Once this gold's depleted, the only other places he could go were on the side, but they're not walled in at all, so that's going to leave them exposed to raids and all of that stuff. Whereas Boy's nice and secure, he's still working on this gold here, and he's got double gold here with one keep in the middle. He'd be able to defend that very easily. And the composition, Sugarnu and Lancers, you know, it's like peanut butter and jelly. They just go together amazingly, and they just melt everything in their path, as we saw. So a really fantastic timing attack, and the double raid here works really well, where the Lancers came in and ended them, while the second load came in and then continued to push and continue to do damage, not worrying about these defensive structures and making sure they do that damage while they have the forces, and while Studio has no military there to defend. So fantastic play from both of these players, both of these Conquerors, and I definitely want to see more of this kind of action. So remember to share your game information with me in the comments, and I will see you next time for some more exciting Age of Empires action.